Yeah. Well, you're not the only one. Barbara's in.
No, I'm not in, Paul. That's my point.
Okay, so you went to the invitation? I thought it was because I hadn't started the meeting, Lynn. I wasn't putting you off. I was doing what I thought was necessary.
Yeah, it said we
Okay,
had to
so
wait.
everybody else is in. I don't know why you can't get in. Start again.
Okay.
Barbara, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear
I
me?
can't hear you though.
Oh,
Maybe my speaker's not on or something. You think you're not muted, right?
no.
Oh no, now I hear you. Okay. I guess my volume was too low. All right, Lynn, you making any progress?
Once again, like I said, I've been spinning. Now I'm trying again.
Okay.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Well, I didn't do anything. I just forgot about it. All right, here we all are.
Okay,
Hi.
very good. Thank you, Paul.
Sure. Sorry to make a problem.
I don't know why. It's just the zooming wheel sometimes comes up. Oh, all right. Who have we got tonight? Looks like we have.
My name is now Town Hall.
Yeah, you are Town Hall. That's great. Looks like we have a quorum. Just maybe others will join, but thank you very much for joining us. I know you're all going to be absolutely stunned, but about 4 minutes ago, I sent out the minutes. I don't know if any one of you is able to, first of all, let me formally call the meeting to order and then do the first item of business that Diane really sincerely wants me to do, and that is to bring up the minutes and hopefully have them reviewed and approved.
Okay, hold on a minute. I think I can share my screen. You said
Okay,
you
very
sent them in an email, did you?
Yes, I did, to everyone.
All right. Lynn Spencer, CPC meeting and minutes. And are they an attachment? Yes.
Yes, they are.
All right, and so now I have to download it so I can make it big, big, big. All
And
right,
it's just a PDF.
wait a minute. Documents, CPC. All right, we'll open the CPC minutes, save. And now open. And okay, now I have it open, and now I have to see if I can share my screen. I know it's here somewhere. Is it on more? Oh, there it is. There's your shared screen. And yeah. Okay, so I think y'all are looking at my copy of the minutes, eh? Is that true?
Yes, thank you. They're
Oh,
on the screen.
You're all dumbfounded. Okay. So,
Oh, I see a typo right away. I called the meeting not on the 31st, but on November 6th,
okay.
which is at the top of this.
If you send it as a PDF, I won't be able to edit it.
No, I didn't. It's a Word document.
Oh, really? Well, let's see what happens.
I've actually started making,
Yeah, oh, you did? Are you doing? All right, so you're
I'm making some red lines to the minutes, just minor edits.
Please do.
Yeah, well, make them for real.
Yeah, who you want to do them? Okay.
No, you're going to do it. You
Oh,
so
okay.
keep going. So you're putting in November, whatever that was.
6th, November 6th.
Okay.
Okay, so this document here is the one that we're going to work on. So let's see. The first line, oh, so is it okay if we make edits to this before we vote for approval?
Yes, but why don't you tell everyone what you'd like to do?
Yep. First line, application, Ellen and Nancy have resumed the challenge of enabling a fillable form. That should say a fillable online form because we already have a fillable form.
Okay,
Okay. That's
Um,
great. Thank you.
Yep. So, and then there is a couple of town is spelled wrong in a couple of places. Bottom of the first paragraph. So
mhm.
I'm sorry. So Paul, are you gonna make these or am I gonna
No,
make?
you're gonna make them.
Oh, okay. I thought we were looking at the one. All right. So then let me
We're
go.
looking at this and you're making them on your copy.
All right. All
Right.
right. Let me go
Is that
back to my
okay? Is that
document.
okay? Or is that
Yeah,
too
yeah.
complicated?
No,
That,
it's
that's
totally,
fine.
Okay.
That's
it's
Okay,
totally
good.
fine. So it enabling an online fillable form to be created, right? And then town second services by the last line of that paragraph where it says services by the town. So I corrected that to town. Second thing, schedule. I also corrected the misspelling of town. Next paragraph under schedule where it says grants will be due January 16th. I thought it'd be useful to just put the year in. So January 16th, 2024 and May 18th,
fine.
2024. So
Okay.
I added the years there. Now I didn't get farther than that, to be honest. Panel piece of stone. Give me just a second. Remains an open. And I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to read them, but this is,
No.
I was just starting to do it when we called the
Okay, so in
meeting.
number 3, it would be existing grants with a T.
So I want everyone to take really careful notice here.
Got it, yeah.
Because the chair did these minutes
Yes,
very quickly, lightning
yes.
speed. The chair
I-
is not competent to do the minutes.
Mhm.
This
Can
is
I
being
share,
amply demonstrated here.
would it be possible for me to, for you to, can I share my screen? So since I'm gonna be saving these?
Go ahead. I think you can. I don't know if you need my permission or what. So I'll stop
Uh,
share.
Yeah, it'll just be easier if we're just
ahead.
doing it together. There we go.
Oh, well done, Ellen. Okay.
Thank you. All right, so then I've, changed the dates. I just did this all in red line so you can see what I've done.
Mhm.
Right, an
Please.
online fillable form,
Yep.
town, 24. Okay, so now we have to just review them before we can approve them. Highlights.
Yeah, that's small f in if a kitchen.
Yes. I thought that.
But carefully look at the this one is where there's content of meaning,
Yes,
Mhm.
agreed.
Revision.
because we really did discuss this.
Right.
Right, okay, so the $50,000, so if they move the Council on Aging kitchen from, say, Town Hall to the Johnson School Library, for example, this $50,000 comes back to us.
That's right.
Okay,
If the Council on Aging needs a food preparation kitchen and it goes off-site, that's fine. If the town then decides that it wants to have a warming kitchen so that caterers or event planners can come in and warm food, not prepare it, that is possible that that $50,000 could stay at town hall for a warming kitchen.
Well, I think a kitchen is a kitchen.
No, it's not. No,
No?
not according to the code. That's been the whole big issue at town hall.
Oh, there's a code issue.
Yes, a
I
code
didn't
issue.
know, I didn't know that. Okay. But that has nothing to do with our grant.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. Our grant is actually to make the improvements at the town hall kitchen in such a way that it meets code,
Right.
but we're not doing appliances or any of the other stuff.
Okay. All right, whatever. How are we going on the next few here?
oh, I've moved on,
Yep.
so I
Please
got
do,
that.
please do.
Yeah, I've moved on. I'm on the Town Hall handicap access improvement. This sentence doesn't quite make sense to me. Tony is in discussion with architect Fisher Smith and Zach Taylor, DPW, was of expediting this.
To
project.
expedite the project.
Okay. Okay. Green Lawn Cemetery, continuing source of concern, structure problems again.
Yep, just capitalize Tony and
Mhm.
Smith.
So you say handicapped here, but you said handicap up here, so let's just choose one.
It should be cap,
Cap or capped
cap.
with no ED?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good with that. So, let me hide this thing for a second. Hide floating meeting controls. Let's save it onto the.
Right. I just want to thank you for that, Ellen. I just want to ask other committee members if they have edits or corrections. If there are none, could I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
I'll do a roll call vote. All right, I'll need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. I'll do a roll call vote. Paul,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
Austin,
Yes.
chair votes yes. The minutes are accepted as edited. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so let me bring up the other point that I'd like to raise. I sent an email out over the weekend about minute preparation, and Diane is absolutely right. We have really got to be, focused and dedicated on minutes and minute preparation in a timely fashion. I had suggested that Paul has been doing the job of posting the meetings and, working with town hall and so on, and that I was looking for a volunteer, maybe it's more than one, to actually take the minutes, and then are prepared. We review them as a committee, and then it goes on to Paul for filing at town hall. That was one suggestion. I'm open to others, but the chair does not want to prepare the minutes because you can see the problems. Terrible. Terrible. Don't all speak at once, but I'm looking for a volunteer to take minutes. They can be quite simple. They do not have to be as detailed as some of the ones we've enjoyed in the past. Diane has reminded us that the minutes really are about recording votes. If we want to have more context and character, that is good too. Oh, somebody just raised their hand. I saw that. That was a young person. That was in Jim Dolan's office.
Jack's happy to volunteer.
Jackson was volunteering his father.
I mean, I'm happy to help to the extent that I can, but I would not call this my strong suit. I
But
wouldn't
Jackson feels strongly about you, I can tell you that.
certainly not when it comes to this.
All right. The chair will reluctantly take minutes, but she'll be complaining all the way, and they will be, full of typos and all kinds of nonsense. Maybe I'll start writing poems into the minutes. Austin, that was a grim grin. All right, we'll move on. Let's hear from Ellen about what we've learned about the fillable online form.
My pleasure. So we met with the town website developer and explained the situation and what we were trying to do. I think I emailed basically what I'm about to say to everybody, which is they can, well, so at the time they were gonna look into it and give us a price. So we can easily create a form. The question becomes, well, what happens to the data when the form is submitted? Usually when forms are submitted, somebody gets an email, and it can be anybody. You can add multiple people to that. But the data would end up getting saved in like a spreadsheet with a column for the name and the applicant and the amount requested and all the things. So like all the things would be in a cell in a spreadsheet, and then there would be a clickable link to all of the items that make up the grant application. That's really not useful to us as a committee, right? Because somehow we'd have to either we just wouldn't have a full grant application. We'd have an Excel with all the data, which is a true
No.
pain.
No.
So there's an option that they're looking into, which is it's a plugin to their website that it's got an annual license fee, which we don't know yet, but I'm sure those things are not usually very expensive. And it works to compile forms into a PDF in a way that, we're trying to get it so that when people submit the form, it's sent to us in a way that is useful and functional and readable and in a complete PDF. Like I want one PDF per application, right? As opposed to a bunch of links and a bunch of data, which is just administratively, it's a headache. So I heard back from her, and they are going forward with creating the form already, and they're doing that free of charge. My assumption is, and I asked for clarification, is that the town probably has that this company on retainer, and it's probably like estimated to be within their hours for the month. So we're not going to get any charge for creating the actual form. They will get back to me. They don't have information yet on this PDF on this plugin that will compile the things into a way that is functional for us. So that's what I'm waiting for. I don't expect it to be much, but it will involve development time on their end. I mean, we could be looking at like $1,000. I don't really know. It depends on how long it takes them and how much the plugin costs. Whatever it costs, if it's, within that range, it's most likely going to be worth it. So this is all going to so that way, I mean, otherwise, what are we going to do? Ask Kristen to go into an Excel and compile a PDF? It would be so much work.
No.
It's so much ridiculous amount of work. And this is the way to go forward. So they're starting work on the form, and Nancy and I will review the draft when they get it done. I'm thinking we might want to break it up into paginations so that it's easier for people, so they don't have like one long gigantic scrolling form. So we have one for applicant, one for financial, one for narrative, one for anything else, something like that. And that shows them a little progress bar for when they're, when they're where they are in the form submission process. So that's where we are. They didn't think it would be a problem to meet the December 4th deadline, at least for getting a form live, but the PDF is still an open question. Like how it gets compiled is still an open question. I don't think anybody's going to be applying December 4th, so I'm not too worried about it, but I don't want it to go on too much longer. So we just want people to be able to submit this form nice and clean. You have to have everything ready when you sit down to do it. It's not like you can save it and come back. You just sit down.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Why can't you save it and come back?
Well, because that introduces a complexity that I don't think we want to handle, right? So the one way we could do it, right, is if you fill it out and you come back, like if you don't change your website settings and you don't clear your cache, for example, you could technically come back and do it. But otherwise, like if there's too many variables where somebody would need help, technical help, that is just not worthwhile. So the other option would be to create a way for them to log in and have an account. And that's another aspect of complexity I just don't think we want to deal with. I could bring it up with them if you think it would be worthwhile to have people create accounts somehow and then log in. And
Ellen, I think it's absolutely essential for security that a form is filled out only by persons with approval. And that would
So-
be,
No, that's not what she's saying.
oh, yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yes, it is. Because she's saying you need an identity in order to save it. And in order to have an identity, you need a login. And those are essential parts of filling out a form online, any form. I mean, this is kind of like reinventing the wheel. So I don't see why I mean, they should have suggested that to you. I don't understand why they didn't. But in any case, I think we should get there.
Okay, so you advocate for making sure people create accounts on the town website. Essentially, that's what it would be. It would be some subsection of the town website in order to submit the form.
Right, otherwise who knows who's submitting it? You have no idea who's submitting it. You have no idea whether, yeah. And
Well,
I think,
there's
if I-
two things. One is there will almost certainly be, some kind of bot protection to keep bots and, spammers from filling it out. So there's that I'm not too worried about that because that's typical for any online form. I don't think I agree with you for the legitimacy of the user. But I actually, I don't really have a horse here. So like, I could go talk to them about it. But I don't think I agree with you on making sure that all users would have to log in to submit a form because they're going to submit their information. Like, if Julie Tarmy submits an application, she's going to put her name and her contact information on there. And if somebody else submits an application and says she's Julie Tarmy, well, we'd eventually find that out.
Yeah, but Ellen, I think it's a bigger problem to have somebody sit down and in one sitting, finish the whole thing and submit it.
I agree with Paul on
I
that.
don't think
That
that's
is real.
realistic.
Yeah,
I don't
that
think
is real.
that's
Okay, so
realistic.
you want them to be able to say, so it's less about legitimacy of the user and more
Right.
about not having everything ready all at once.
Correct.
Yeah.
We did
Correct.
talk about that. And one thing we did say was that could be a problem. And we said we would put at the very front of the form or on the top of that page, here is what you need. Make sure you have everything before you start filling out the form. So that's a possibility. But if you guys think that we should go back and say the team, wants people to be able to save their work, how do we make that happen?
How robust is this application?
What's that?
How robust is the application?
It's the application that we've been using for years. It's the
Standard application. So you could likely copy and paste from like a Word document into your system if you needed to.
I mean, yeah. You mean like you have the questions and you type it all up and then come and sit it. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yes, there's definitely, if you had this typed up somewhere else and then you came, but I think you could certainly copy and paste your answers into the form for sure. I am hearing two people want me to go back to the developer and say, we've had some discussion and the team really wants people to be able to save their work. What's the best way to approach it?
I want to say two things about this. I think Jim has raised a good point. How complicated is this form? It's really pretty straightforward.
Right.
But for years, I've seen people do a mess up filling out this form.
Yeah,
I've never,
sure.
I mean, the only one who seemed to always get it right, there were two people, Julie Tarmy from the Historical Society and Sharon Hawks at the library, really understood how to do a grant application.
Yeah.
We see these things with many communities, and being able to go back in and fix it or add things is of advantage.
Well,
so I guess the question is, how complicated is it, as Paul suggested, to create an account so somebody could actually
that's
go back in?
Two items you just brought up. One is, again, the saving an account so that you can process your application in more than one sitting. But then you said something else there, Lynn, which was edit it later, right? Or fix something. So if you mean so once you submit the application, you shouldn't be able to edit it. But if in the meantime you want to save it and go back in before you submit it, those are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I would be thinking that the way to do it would be to, if we went down this road, you would want people to be able to edit it before finally submitting it, as opposed to fixing it after the fact, which is a different thing.
That's true. So let's say fixing it after the fact is just providing supplemental information. You're not
So you'd
changing
have
the
to do that
form.
by email. It's not a
Yeah,
form.
Yeah, exactly. So, we can accomplish that with requesting supplemental information. But I just think enabling somebody to start the application and then go back in and,
Okay.
and
Well,
then
so
check with our committee and their blah, blah, blah is probably advantageous.
So again, okay, so then, sorry, so there's just, more technical clarity I need, right? Because what Paul was also saying was, questioning the legitimacy of the user, right? And doing that by having a login of some sort. And, so that's actually another two different things. So where we have being able to save your work and go back does not necessarily mean that you have a login, but it could, right? So what I'd said earlier was, right now, a person can come back and save their work, and it's like saved in their website's cookies. So if they have an issue and they clear their cache and their cookies are no longer valid, or, something, then their application is lost. So we could accomplish the saving, but I worry we could accomplish the saving by just, going forward with the cookie situation. But I worry that that's not, to use Jim's word, it's not like really robust. It's kind of a workaround. But I could talk to the website developer and see if they have a better solution. It
I
might
wanna
end
hear-
up just being a login that you create an account on some
Yeah.
subset of the back end, and that's the way it is.
I don't think the security is as much as the issue, quite honestly, is because sometimes these applications may be done by multiple people representing a committee of the applicant. So I'm not so much concerned about the identity of the person as making it possible for people to use this.
Okay.
I hesitate to say with ease.
Now, easier for sure.
Yeah.
You want it to be as straightforward as possible. I'm a little worried about the cookie setup, but I might just be overly worried, but that's my nature. So,
I bank on that. I really bank on that, Ellen.
yeah, welcome to me. I mean, I'm happy to reach back out and say, I think we want to move forward with some kind of login so that they can save their work, right? The goal is more so that they can save their work and come back to it and not have to do it all in one sitting. So what's the best way to approach that?
Yes, please. If you could
sure.
ask that question,
Yeah,
that
I
would
can-
be that would be very helpful.
I'll totally do that. I will do that. I will respond. I responded today about the just responding to her last email.
Yeah.
So I'll respond again and just say, ask her for to move forward. We want to go forward to be able to save your work and not have to do it all in one sitting.
Yep. Okay.
Is there any other comments or questions or recommendations? Requests?
Okay. So right now I have to say what is sitting on our website. I'm looking right. I'm looking because I'm anxious to. I don't see the our old application sitting on the website. Yeah. All right. So I sent around the potential announcement earlier today. Did everyone see that for the meeting on the 4th? Yes, no, anyone?
Yeah, I did see it. And
So
I'm
for-
sorry, so Lynn, I do see the CPC grant application. It's under home and documents and forms, but it doesn't look like it's on the CPC page.
Okay, that's where I was, so, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the idea is to have this public meeting on the 4th, which we had agreed to at our last meeting. This is the overview of what CPC is, how it works, blah, 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 blah. And being able to actually say, yes, there's an online fillable form would be a cool idea. If it is not available, I need to be able to talk about the form itself. The old version, which is a PDF on the town website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just to make a real distinction, this is a public meeting, not a public hearing. So this is just open for people to come and talk about their projects, their concerns, and so on. If I were to guess, there'll be people wanting to talk about affordable housing.
Yes, I'm sure there will.
They will. I'm sure they will. So I'm going to jump a little bit to another item that was on last week's agenda. Please take a look at the affordable housing report, which is on the town website, so that you're conversant with it. This is something that we have funded, and it's got a match from the state. There's a consulting team that has been working with the town committee. It is complex, it's detailed, it's got a lot to it. And yes, it is 144 pages long. So it's not something you read really quickly, although the executive summary is being revised now, so it can be the snapshot, a meaningful snapshot. Just by any chance, has anyone looked at it? And do you have thoughts and questions or comments?
No, I mean, I didn't read it in a detailed way. I skimmed it, but I could tell that a lot of work was put into it, and I felt like some of the questions I would ask should have been asked at the beginning of some public process, because it was clear that a lot of intelligent people put a lot of work into that document.
There were 2 public meetings, but and a lot in between.
Yeah, of course. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, I read the document and I didn't participate in those meetings. And so I
Yeah.
felt that once the final result came, my time for questions that were of a basic nature might be past.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that there's still a lot of people raising questions. I can tell you that. And commentary.
So it's in draft form. It was not approved by this group, or is the group not in position to approve it, but instead present it either to the Board of Selectmen or town meeting?
Yes.
What's the situation?
Yeah, it's a solid, it's the penultimate draft. So it was waiting for 2 levels of commentary. Well, 3. One was, it's open for public commentary, but it then goes on to the planning board and to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, and if both of those sign off on it,
Then it's final.
what becomes its status?
Then it becomes a final document, and it can be filed with the state as part of the housing production plan, which is being requested in view of 2 things. One is affordable housing, and that allows us to have, if you will, a grace period while we work to achieve more housing in Nahant, but it gives us a level of protection against an un-40 friendly bee.
Oh,
The other part of this report was dealing with the zoning, the state's zoning mandate called 3A, which is actually encouraging density in relation to public transportation. Nahant does have that single bus route, but we also are, you know, we are close to Lynn and a hub of public transportation. Some of the community comment that we've been receiving has been saying, separate 3A from the affordable housing. It's too confusing. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. But that is, you probably have been seeing coverage in the news and in the print media, but many communities are facing this and they are resisting it or embracing it, but mostly resisting it. And there's consequences in terms of state funding and support to resisting it.
are those spelled out in the report or not?
Yes.
They are? Okay.
So take a look at that.
Will do.
Okay. My main item of business was to say, we're getting ready for a public meeting. And I think we have covered that. I have failed on the subject of somebody to take minutes. So, you know, here they are next week. But when I start doing, you know, the grants and that sort of thing, somebody else is going to have to join me on taking minutes because I can't, it's too hard to run a meeting
Right.
and take
Yeah.
notes at the same time.
Yeah. Lynn, let me ask you another question. That master grid that we work from every year, do
Mhm.
you put that together?
Yeah.
Or does Chris, you do it?
Yeah, I always do it. So
Okay.
what has happened is Christine Taylor is not really giving the support. She just doesn't have the time to do
Okay,
it.
fine, all right.
So or to do the minutes and we see what happens when she's trying to do the minutes because she's taking them from a transcription and they are just complicated and require a lot of editing. So I'm hoping that Christine, you know, I'm leaning on Christine to cheerfully let committee chairs and boards know about the public hearing and to put the item, the ad in the Lynn item. But otherwise, I will be notifying the nonprofits in town. And that's it. Okay.
I emailed you, Lynn. I will not be at the public meeting. I think I emailed you about that. I have to travel for work that week.
Mm-hmm.
So
Who will be there?
Yes, I'm just alerting you that I will.
Yes.
Yeah,
not
I'll be
able to
there.
be there.
Okay, so Ellen will be not there. Paul, yes. Austin,
Yes, I'll be there, Lynn.
Jim,
I will get back to you on that.
I'm sorry.
It's not a no or a yes. I haven't confirmed yet. I
Okay.
do not know.
Dave.
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. That's good to know. Dave, I should have asked you, do you have anything you want to throw out on the housing production plan? I know you're a member of the Housing Authority. Any observations or comments you wish to share with this committee?
Not at this time. I I resigned halfway through and I let Dana Sheehan take over. So
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had too much on my plate. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Other new business. I'm going to look down to see if I have anything in chats. Nothing. Members of the public who are on the screen, any comments or concerns they wish to share? Okay. Ellen, we thank you especially for what you and Nancy are doing, but you especially because you have the computer know-how and you've
Yeah.
worked on these forums. So we are very grateful for your leadership.
Thank you. It's my
and,
pleasure.
And efforts for that.
Thanks.
So if I am hearing nothing else in terms of business, there's one item of business that will be necessary to close this meeting.
Move to close.
A motion to adjourn.
Sorry about that. Motion to adjourn. So be it.
Okay. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Dave. All right, I'll do a roll call vote. Paul,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
Austin.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much for
Okay.
coming tonight. The meeting is over. Barbara, we're always happy to see your smiling face. And okay, next meeting will be the public meeting on December 4th at 7 o'clock by Zoom. Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Most
everybody.
importantly, happy Thanksgiving to
Oh, yeah.
all. Okay,
You too.
You too.
Yeah.
Very
Happy
good.
Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye
Good night.
now.